Hey guys, it's Matt. Doing this for 14 years plus and researching for a year or two more than that provides a pretty good perspective. And I was thinking the other day, I need to work this perspective in as much as possible whenever it's relevant to whatever we might be talking about. And the place to start with that is the perspective of all the things that we panicked about, that we chased in the past. It's Julio Iglesias and Willie Nelson. To all the girls I've loved before, to all the dumb shit we chased and panicked about before. I mean, the list, guys, I started writing some stuff out. I have forgotten all this. Now, the point is, the purpose of looking at this is it kind of tells us that the conspiracy of the month and what's so urgent and horrific now probably isn't that bad. It's probably no different than the Nibiru. We'll look at that first. Nibiru and Planet X that scared the absolute shit out of the truth community. Let's say, I don't know, I'm not going to be perfect on my dates. It was probably around 2013, 2014. Video after video after video, Nibiru. Now, I am proud to say I never was on the panic boat with that. That is not what this channel's ever been about. This channel has been more about rational thought and calm down people, and it's even more so that today. But let's just start with Julio Iglesias, Willie Nelson, to all the dumbass shit that we searched and panicked about and stressed about. Let's start with Planet X, Nibiru, and I'll give a perspective for anybody that hasn't been doing this for, say, less than 5 years. Now, it seems like they planted Nibiru or Planet X in the truth community about the same time. They had real scientific articles coming out, planted in both places at the same time. Almost everything we've ever panicked about, guys, has been planted in our community by minions of not milk. Of course. Goes right through economic collapse and everything else. Of course, we've taken the bait and we have to stop. We're getting better at it. But, I don't know, Nibiru, Planet X, scientific papers also going all over the truth community, thousands and thousands of videos. There's 8 planets in the solar system. No, do you include Pluto? It's 9 planets. None of them can be landed on by Elon Musk. But there's another planet, Planet X, Nibiru. People in the truth community were relating it to the formation of the solar system, Tiamat, and this thing. Oh, this gigantic body is coming back. To Carrie Cassidy and Project Camelot is interviewing people, and these testimonies, they seem real. It scared the shit out of us. It did. We were addicted, all addicted to the fear. That dopamine to us was the fear. It still is to a degree. We're getting better at it. And probably David Wilcock or whatever his name is, Cox, and people running with this invisible planet that's in this huge trajectory out, and it's coming. It's coming back. And oh man, I can't tell you how many videos there were on this bullshit, horseshit. Now, doing this as long as I have, 14 years plus some researching, you start to see patterns. You start to see how the reality itself, the dark reality, the asshole dark, the not milk does business. And it makes any panic of the month or the week seem irrelevant. It kind of gets back to, guys, when we were little kids, no matter how old you are, let's just say you're over 40, we're little kids playing kickball or whatever in the dirt and playing with our army men. I'm sure not to the degree it is now with the internet, but there were still, quote, conspiracy people out there and truthers that were worried about something. That's right. When we're playing army men as little kids, there was a group somewhere, again, not as extensive as it is now, very small, but these conspiracy people were sure the end of the world was coming. And they're sure that this new world order was going to do this or that. And guess what? We didn't know anything about it. We're just playing in the mud with the kids, and life went on. Guess what? All the stuff we've been worried about over the last 14 years, there were still little kids playing outside. They didn't know a darn thing about what we were panicking about. Life goes on. That's how we should learn from the patterns of how it works. This is my biggest frustration in the truth community. For the most part, it never learns the most basic of lessons. And if anybody's saying about this Nibiru or Planet X, Matt, nobody would believe that horse shit. Trust me, I don't know if it was 2012, 2013, maybe into 2014. There are these, Carrie Cassidy's down with these whistleblowers that had these government. I wasn't born out of the womb, rose up into the air like Neo flying around with full knowledge. I came through the ranks and the graduated animal farms just like everybody else. But I was smart enough to progress and see patterns. I was smart enough to learn a bit, not not do the same old stuff all the time. I assure you it was scary as shit. These whistleblowers that, this person worked for DARPA and this person, I don't remember it all, but they have classified information. This gigantic planetary body is going to be coming around the mountain when she comes, coming around the sun. And people were like, no, I think I see it. I think if you look into the sun, there's another object up there. What happened to it? What happened to it? Where'd all this Nibiru Planet X stuff go? It was gone. Maybe it was nothing to begin with. Another fun one to talk about, 2011 maybe, 10, 11, 12, something like that, was the FEMA camps. What was the other thing? The Walmarts are going to be used to round up the Walmarts, the FEMA camps, the endless trains with the endless amounts of, which I believe these videos were real, but just because there's a train of 200 cars with military equipment doesn't mean the military's moving into position to round people up and put them in camps. And what was it, Steve... I forget. I'll think of it in a second. Steve, whatever, was coming on these shows saying they're going to, I've talked about this in the last few months, put different stickers on your mailbox. If you went out and you got this sticker, you were blue pill and you're okay. If you got this sticker, like, what you putting on my mailbox? Oh, a sticker to see what's going to happen to you. Are you going to go to this Walmart camp or this. If you got this, according to Steve, I'll think of it. Doesn't matter. Don't comment. Steve Quayle. If you got this sticker, they don't even reserve places for you in the Walmart. They're just coming for your ass. You're screwed. That would have been my color sticker. Well, why would they put it on the mailbox? I'm telling you that, guys, this was a real thing. We were concerned about this for like a month. Guys, what we chased, we need to learn lessons. We're better now. And I didn't chase and panic about this on my channel. But I got sucked into it much more than, say, I would be sucked into it now, with a different perspective. It wasn't just FEMA camps and the Walmarts are going to be used for a certain purpose to round up a certain type of patriot. And the people were videotaping these, thousands and thousands of stacks of these plastic, looked like coffins or containers. They're going to be, and then it even led to there was literally a rumor for a month that was all over. Guillotines are being shipped in from the French Revolution, are being shipped. I mean, guys, it got out of control. Who knows why they do this? Maybe it's just to study, test, and retest, and feed it into the AI. Test and retest, send it into the Whopper computer. I mean, if anybody wants to tell me right now, Matt, don't you know the United States is broken down into FEMA regions? So what? I'm as skeptical of authority as you are. But every once in a while, a few trucks come by after a hurricane and give people a case of water. Okay, yeah. There are FEMA regions in the United States. Yeah, so what? Okay, we panicked about this shit. The graduated animal farms were told to run with it. They worked everybody up into a frenzy. And the point here is simple. We're going to reflect on all this bullshit that we chased after, and we're going to actually use it in the future so we don't chase it again. The same type of bullshit. Let's do another dumb one quickly. 2011, 12, 13, when Obama was running for a second term, or running. You understand. It's not my first word. I understand what really happened with the Mitt Romney puppet election. And what did he have? Mitt Romney, his binders and binders and binders of women. Before I hire, he said in a debate or something, I go through binders and binders of women, all by design, all to say, I was actually out at lunch the next day, and there were 3 women at a table next to me. I was getting a sandwich right over. They were saying, did you hear what he said? Binders and binders, all by design. Mitt Romney, dark, Bain Capital, very dark. They're not stupid, though. It's evil genius in the extreme. He wouldn't make mistakes like that, all on purpose. Binders and binders of women. Well, anyway, we were told that Obama's never going to leave office. And this was like a big deal for 2 years. Not huge like Planet X or Nibiru, but just a video would float every few weeks or so that Obama's positioning to be the king of the world, and here's all this symbolism, and in this movie told us what's going to happen with Obama. He's not going to leave office, going to become some sort of emperor on a throne. That propagated around for a while, guys, and it did to a degree with Trump and the last president, Trump, and those books, the Baron Trump's fantastic Bill and Ted's Journey and all this bullshit. Now, this one's still big today and always will be big, but it was dominant. It was a dominant thing we talked about. Oh, boy. Something that happened in the state of Connecticut was 2012. It would have been 20. These events were going on. Goes back to Orlando and Florida, 2010, 11, 12, 13. That would be the prime period for this. They're going to take the guns. I know it still exists, but it was not huge like it was then. Here's how they're going to come. They're already doing it, and look what they're doing in Australia. Look what they're doing in Europe. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. We were in a panic. We were in an uproar. I mean, look, guys, now we reflect back and we say, you know what happened on the day that there's that major thing that we've looked at in this community that happened at a school in the state of Connecticut? Well, you know what happened after that? I actually went to there's a gun show here in Oaks, Pennsylvania, and I went to the day of. I believe it was the day of. It might have been the next day, whatever, or it might have been 2 days later, but I'm almost positive my memory says it was the day of, or at the very worst, the next day. The gun show, there were the line was around the block. It went outside the place to get in. They're not stupid. These events are to take the guns. No, what these events did is it had thousands and tens of thousands of people immediately, and hundreds of thousands over the next few weeks, buy 1 million more guns. Of course, they knew that would be the reaction. They're not stupid. So, Matt, are you saying it's kind of the opposite? These events are in a way designed to have people buy more and more guns? Well, I'm going to say yes, but the proof is in the pudding. These events created a country with now 10 million more guns than the 200 million it already had. So you can either think they're stupid and they didn't know it would cause people to buy millions and millions and more, or just say they know exactly what they're doing. And the result, well, Matt, then that's what's happening now. Eventually, they're going to take them. Okay, I don't want to turn this into this sort of debate. No, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that can happen in the United States for a lot of different reasons. Maybe this is worth a free voice discussion sometime. But you have to look at what actually happened. And the Not Milk's not dumb. What actually happened is what it wanted to happen. I forget the year of the Ebola scare, but it was a big deal for about a month, and it was scary. It really was. Sure, it's easy to say looking back now, Matt, don't you know that all 4 doctors or 5 of the doctors were all 33 years old, the first 5 that were brought? No, I didn't know that. I haven't been studying conspiracy. This is my first week. Yeah, we can look back now. It's easy to say, no, but when you're in the middle of it and you can't really see the big picture, and they'd never done a, quote, medical scare. It had not been done. Okay, so we didn't know what the heck was going on. Looking back now, yeah, and then they were bringing them back. They were infected, but then they're brought back. Why are you bringing them here? Why are you bringing them here? That's violating the first few rules of medical tenet laid down by Hippocrates. You don't do that. You don't bring them here. And then, oh my gosh, and then it started to supposedly spread around here, and all these ridiculous reports and ridiculous stories. Well, Matt, what happened? The 9th level of Metroid happened. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was probably a test and retest, collect the data, put it into the AI. Test, retest, collect data, see what the tweets are doing, see what the Facebook's doing, see what the YouTube videos are doing, put it into the Whopper computer. Probably was a primary way to collect data for 2020. It was cake in a lake. So were the other 2 scares relating to bird H1 and whatever the bird. There was a bird flu scare 2012, 2013. There was another one, avian. Look, all to collect data. Here's one that got pretty big around 2012, 13 or so because of the Denver airport, but it had always lingered, the DUMBs. Deep underground military bases, or DUMBs. If you believed all the conspiracy videos that made the thousands of videos on this shit, that you dumb. It still lingers around. Well, Matt, this could exist. Let's say it does exist. So what? It does. You think I'm gonna? But Matt, if it does exist, then the Carrington event is coming. They're gonna move. Didn't you see that Tia Leone version of Armageddon, whatever it's called, where they moved 1 million people underground? And I know I don't buy that for a second. Okay, I don't buy it. Even if who cares? But if dumbs exist, we associate it with the Denver airport. The dumbest thing we ever did was take the bait on the Denver airport. We'll talk about that. But let's just say there are deep underground military bases. So what? So what? Do I think, the cataclysm's coming? No, I don't. Okay. What would make this? There's been thousands of times you call this, they call human beings have panicked because this is coming or that's coming. And you know how it played out? Nothing happened. So why would I think it would be any different this time? Well, this time's different. Oh, sure. It's related to the Denver airport conspiracy because supposedly there's these tunnels, endless miles and miles. Maybe there are. Again, I don't care, but it's obvious at this point, the entire presentation of the Denver airport conspiracy, and it was fun. It was fun to look at, but it was all to draw us out, to see. It was a test and retest, put it in the AI, a test and retest, put it in the Whopper. All of it, in my opinion, was by design. Stories about the construction of the Denver airport horse is still Blucifer. It's still there. It's the creepiest thing of all time. I'm saying all of it was a not nilk plan to see who would be interested in it, to learn about who would be interested in it and why. What bait did they take? Test and retest, collect the information up. Nobody would construct, no airport and commission from Denver and representatives from the state would allow some giant demonic red glowing-eyed horse to be constructed. I mean, I've driven right by it. It is as creepy as they say, but that doesn't mean it's all part of the plan. Even the images inside. Matt, you must not be aware of those paintings. Oh, no, why would I be doing this for 14 years? Why would I be aware of the paintings inside? All by design. All part of a long-term plan, literally to draw us out. Matt, wait, what? Every bit of the presentation of the Denver airport was about us? Yeah, it was. Matt, do you know about, yeah, I know, the New World Airport Commission, the time capsule? You know what's in the time capsule? You break it open 100 years, it probably says, ha, 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 joke's on you, dumbasses. The New World, and we made videos about it, and we watched videos about it. Matt, this New World Airport Commission doesn't even exist, and that is strange. But it's all, they are laughing all the way to the spiritual bank with what they did to us with the Denver airport. Another thing that was big at around the same time as the Take the Guns movement was it related to thousands of videos on NWO, New World, blank. And it was the idea of martial law. Again, also related to the stickers on the mailbox and the Steve Quayle stuff and the FEMA camps and the Walmarts. It's just the general image of what the U.S. is certainly going to evolve into, whether it's going to mostly be under Obama, martial law. And, the Siege movie, which was 1998 or 1999, Denzel Washington, oh boy, whoever the woman was, I guess she was the wife or dated Warren Beatty, and it was Bruce Willis as the general overseeing the martial law coming about as a result in the bot. I don't have to tell it to you twice. In the movie, The Siege, it was because of terrorism about a bus exploded. In the movie, The Siege, okay? But then, of course, it was on purpose to be an allusion for what would be coming a few years later, and what they would try to turn the world into. But we, as usual, took it too far. There will be martial law. Come on, no, okay, it's not going to happen, and it's just another test and retest. Of course, they will try to put the vice grip on any semblance of liberty that may still exist. Like a diseased rodent that pops its head up out of the hole, and there's a little semblance of freedom that pops its head up every so often. They'll try to squash it, but it's not going to be martial law. I mean, come on. And we were told to run with it. It was planted in our community, and we did exactly what they wanted us to do. Why would they need martial law when they have 97% of the population is what the Matrix referred to as blue pills, and they'll do exactly what they're told. Dr. F and whatever they say is to do, and you need to, because the thing lingers at 4 feet in the air and the spores float around at 4 feet in the air, we recommend that you shop for your vegetables and your chunky soup by crawling around on your hands and knees. 90% of the population would probably do it. They don't need to bring in a Bruce Willis type general. He was a general over martial law over New York City or whatever. They don't need that. People do whatever they ask anyway. It's Huxley's A Brave New World. They love their enslavement. It's more of a Brave New World than it is 1984. They probably are prepared to pull out the boot and put it down on somebody, but they don't need to when they got a whole population of blue pills. Now, the NWO thing was more vague. Probably goes back further, and we needed to go. We were played and used, but we needed to go through it. 2008, 2009, 10, 11, thousands and thousands of videos on the new world, who knows what you can say here without a banner ad or whatever. Now, we needed to go through this. This was also a result or a branch off from the 2001 7-Eleven the job application, 7-Eleven job application, which was submitted to the convenience store in 2001. It was an offshoot of that, but it was necessary for us. Because the whole George Bush thing, talking about again, they have to do things in a certain way. Whether some people, they say they have to give it away, or there are certain rules here where the creeps still have to operate by a certain set of rules. But it's not just that they have to give it away. It's also, for the most part, a manipulation. So if George Bush says in the speech 11 years before the big day, where the job application was submitted on the exact day in September, but 11 years before, whatever he says, when we finish our work and establish the new world, and we will, and there'll no longer be the rule of the jungle, there'll be the rule of law. And it took us years. We thought he was announcing some plan. I mean, now we know it was already in place. It had been in place for who knows how many years or decades. He talked about it. For whatever reason, he had to talk about it like it's something that needed to be built, when it was much more of an announcement that it is already there. I mean, it had been around a long, long time. Some would say going back to Adam Weishaupt, and it just happened to be the year of 1776 for Adam Weishaupt, and before that. So he's just announcing what already exists. But it was important for us to see, because we were starting to understand, because of the 7-Eleven job application submitted to the convenience stores, and I submitted to every single 7-Eleven convenience store in Lower Manhattan. Still haven't heard back from them, by the way. We need to understand the world. And it was actually helpful. So, wait, this is a one system here, and it's very nefarious. I mean, more than even the conspiracy people recognized. Another one, it wasn't that big, but it came and went over, say, a 3 or 4 year period, 2010, 11, 12, something like that. This Carrington event, where there's a little merit to it, but you'll see why I don't really put any stock in this one either, guys. But it was like a big deal. The people were making these videos. There's going to be a solar flare, Carrington event. And Matt, don't you know, on record in 18 whatever, there was this thing called the Carrington event. It knocked out the telegraph. The Provo, Utah was trying beep, 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 trying to telegraph the damn train, and it all got knocked out for days, and had to and see, they didn't have no internet back then, Matt. They didn't have no computer chips and phone wiring. What if that happened today? Oh no. See, that was the nature of these videos. Oh no. And then it was equally frustrating for us, because all each state needs to do is spend $40 million to insulate the electric lines, but they won't do that, and they're putting us all at risk. And guys, I don't buy it. I don't know about the history. That history could be planted. Who knows? I don't believe the sun is what Stephen Hawking would tell me it is. I don't believe the moon is what Carl Sagan would tell me it is. There ain't nothing that Elon Musk, any toaster he can get into and fly around to. It's all of it out there is different from what we've been told. And they're not stupid. They don't want millions of people running around desperate. Tom Hanks and his son's, have you seen him? Oh my, you want to get really scared. Watch Tom Hanks' son videos. Oh my goodness. Makes Tom Hanks look like someone you'd like to spend an evening with. They don't want millions of people like Tom Hanks' son running around and desperate. They have to live in this world too. Okay, they would if the Carrington event, they would insulate the damn electric lines if we were at risk of that. Okay, for some reason, the overarching theme in the community is they want just endless chaos, and they want millions of people in the streets and just going after each other and savagery and the worst scenes of the movie The Road. And I got news for you guys: if they wanted populations in that state, they could have done it at any time over the last 100 years. Therefore, you don't have to be a genius that they don't want populations in that state. We're going to continue with the list, but this is not the lisp, the list, but this is a little bit different, this segment. We're going to look at Al's stuff. Al the boar, primate change, and global charming. You're going to look at, what's that song? If I call you Betty, you can call me Al the boar. And we're going to look at his stuff to see how they play their games. I've thought this in the past. Maybe they were around the creepy table. It's not as simple as this, but it's the only way we can kind of understand how they do work their creepy ways. And maybe like, what's next for us on the list to play these researchers, to use, abuse, and play these people that call themselves truth researchers? What's next on our list? Say this was 30 years ago. We're going to hit them with this thing called, what it's really called primate change. Put that in their community, that all these nasty corporations are doing. That ozone layer thing, that didn't work. The hole in the ozone, that didn't work. So we're going to evolve it into this. Put it into the truth community, and then let them be scared to death about it and run with it. And then somebody said, well, wait a second. Somebody leaned into the table. Who are you? I'm new here. I'm Fred. Okay, what's your idea, Fred? It better be good or you're out of here. Okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we play this truth community in the opposite way? Why don't we say that this is something that science supports, and this is something that is supported by governments and the mainstream and authority and universities, instead of just the next topic on the list to scare the shit out of these people? If we say it comes from authority, we'll then be able to test and retest and watch this community. They'll reject it, what we normally would have given them to run with. They'll reject it because it comes from authority, and we can study them as they reject it because it comes from authority. Now, am I saying that the whole notion of this whole thing that Al came as the spokesperson for is just to play the truth community? No, of course not. But that's what we're looking at here in this presentation. Don't think that's not a little part of how they're observing, how if it comes from authority, these people then are bred to reject it. So that we can play a double standard or at least a reverse psychology with them in the future. If we give it to them as their own idea, then they'll run with it and get scared by it. So no, I don't. Of course, it's the whole presentation of what Al presents is much, much larger than that. I'm just saying it's one factor. All right, next on our list is the big one. It deserves to be on the list, but it's not a dumb one. It's inevitable, but I'm just pointing out how we were used, played, and manipulated. Okay, there's been no more videos made on any topic, in my opinion, other than the big submission of the job application, than on economic collapse. Thousands and thousands of videos. I think some of the same channels are still talking about it, and they talked about it over 10 years ago. Now, before you split your pants, give me a moment to explain here. It is a legitimate issue. It is something that whatever this craziness is up to 30 trillion. It can't go on forever. But the way we were played and manipulated, it does belong on the list. Steve Quayle got together with some guy named V, the guerrilla economist, and all the others, and they made thousands of videos, and who knows when it was, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, thousands of videos that this economic collapse is coming. Now, again, before you split your pants, the system of fraud that exists now cannot go on forever. But they knew this, whatever's representative of not milk, minions, they know how much time they can play it out. As long as their computers inject money in the right places and they manage it properly in their modeling and their AI, they didn't think in 2012 it was inevitable. All these videos of economic collapse going to come. They were saying Brexit was there were 1,000 videos about Brexit. If this goes through, it's economic collapse. Get your canned corned beef and get your chunky soup and stock up. In 2005 or whatever they cooked up in that crisis of 2008, They had the modeling, certainly not even a million times more sophisticated than it is now than it was then, but they had the modeling where probably within a year or two, they could predict how long this current financial or monetary system could last. Therefore, we were told, we were played, used, and manipulated. The channels that put forth 1,000 economic collapse videos and had guests on, like Avi, the guerrilla economist, those channels, they did exactly what the Not Nilk wanted. All I'm saying is, all Gus is saying here is the Not Nilk wanted that economic collapse discussion to be such a big part of 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, before, even after it, quote, recovered. It's probably still going on today. I checked out of that stuff 5 years ago. It's probably the same channels talking about the same stuff. But the Not Nilk wanted, and guys, it wasn't, they were not saying these presentations in 2008, 9, and 10 that this system can't last forever and we need to prepare 10 or 15 years down the road. No, they were saying like week to week, it's coming next week. Or if Brexit goes through, or if gold drops to this, they were basically scaring people week to week to stock up. Now, the beef I have with the people that run these channels is they would never question their guests. I have to give them a pass. I can't say they're in on anything, but a guest would come on in 2010 and say, if this event happens, and we're not talking about Brexit, which, that's nothing anyway. That was all completely cooked up, 100% complete nonsense, Brexit. And all the problems that they could have done Brexit in a month, honestly. And they strung it out over 6 years, all by design. These channels were scaring the crap out of people week to week. But the people that run the channels, the guests would come back and say, they would never push them. They would never question them and say, you said if this happened last Tuesday, now I'm not gonna continue this conversation unless you address why it didn't happen. Because you said it was coming. No, maybe I shouldn't give these channels the benefit of the doubt. They kept covering up for the guests. Who knows? But we'll just leave that. It doesn't matter at this point. Yes, it is something that's worth talking about. But I'm talking about a panic type of presentation that was given in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, where you almost felt like you had to go out that day to stock up on shit. Okay, that's what existed. So, okay, one last time. No, a system that just goes past 30 trillion in debt can't go on forever, obviously. They have the new system already in place right now. They'll create a scare. It'll get scary. It's all by design. It'll get scary for a couple weeks or 3 or 4 weeks. And then they'll implement the new system. It'll be token credits or a new type of credit on your phone or a new dollar on your phone, and your existing dollars will be converted, and it's already in place now. So therefore, why did they do that? Why did they play and use the truth community? And it was Not Nilk cooked up in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. The thousands and thousands of economic collapse videos was exactly what the Not Nilk wanted. And those channels that propagate it, whether they're in on it or they just fell for it, and I fell for a lot of stuff too. So I can't, but I never presented those types of economic collapse videos. Never. It was more about, why isn't it happening? And I remember saying many times, well, if they strung it out this long, I must assume they can string it out another 5 or 10 more years. If they've done it if they've strung it out this long, where all these guests come on all these different shows and say, if this one little event happens, we're doomed. But then the event happened and then nothing happened. And then the next week, the event happened and nothing happened. And then Brexit happened and nothing happened. And the Greece meltdown was supposed to cause a ripple effect around the whole economy. And then this currency collapsed, but then nothing happened really in the United States other than a little bit of inflation or whatever. And the money injection stopped. Oh, they're going to turn off QE. That's going to cause it. The money injection of QE, $80 billion a month, $100 billion a month. Yeah, they turned it off. That just means they turned off what they're telling you. They're doing probably a $1 trillion off books, or they don't tell the news, or they don't tell you, the public. And there's probably a whole separate ledger or balance sheet of what the Fed's doing, of course, that's unreported. You try to talk to people, and they would think it's just there's a whole system here that's lied for a long, long time. We'll just leave it at that. And then the people you talk to are like, government, so they would never, Matt, don't you understand what the Fed balance sheet is? If they do money injections or what you call quantitative easing, they have to show you, oh, well, of course. Why would you assume that? So they've lied about all this for decade after decade after decade after decade. But then over here, they just have to be completely legitimate with the Fed balance sheet and what they show you, the money injections. I think that's when they turned off the QE or whatever, and the QE ship of fools. There's a QE2 docked off the ports of Long Beach or whatever, which was a big. There were friends I actually had that went to see it as like a vacation or a tourist destination. I never went down there when I lived there, but that became QE, quantitative easing. When they turned it off, that doesn't mean the money injection stopped. That just means they couldn't tell you anymore about the trillions that really are floating around out there and the trillions more that they're probably having to do now. And they'll never be turned off, of course. And it is incredible that the inflation isn't worse than it is. So guys, it is not really, this topic does not really belong on our list. It is not complete nonsense like Nibiru or Planet X, but the scare of which it was brought into our community was 100% cooked up. Here's a dumb one that I never understood. And no matter how much truth there possibly could be in it, we're at the point now where it doesn't matter, even if it is true. And it still seems like a bunch of bullshit to me. But there could be a little bit of truth in it because I do believe in the straw man. And I see the not milk tactic and what it wants to do with the legal fiction. The straw man, which will eventually become the digital twin, etc. But you know what I'm going to say. This stuff that we're traded on the stock market. Our names are charged. I mean, look, this is obviously implanted as well into our community. There could be something, before you split your pants, relax. Let me talk it out. Okay, there could be something related to this, or the harvesting of loose energy regarding the people who have a full belief in their straw man, in their legal fiction. And who knows, for whatever reason, it had to be leaked out, or the way this reality has to do business from the creep's perspective. But this stuff about trading names or lives in a marketplace, give me a break. Come on, sir. Give me a break. Why do you believe that? Have you been into the exchange? Because you watched some video on it? Is that why you're so convinced that all that's true? It's in a way how this reality harvests its energy. It's a truth drop to a degree. But the point is, let's just say it's true, it's ridiculous to me. Like trading bodies on a market. By my heel, I care not. If they're really doing it, Matt, you don't care. I don't care one bit. Because I'm learning to remove my energy, to separate via affirmations, separate from my legal fiction, move away, withhold my energy. It doesn't matter if you're a real, quote, real spiritual being. I don't use the word human anymore. It doesn't matter. It can't, in terms of what you need to do here, it can't stop you. If it wants to be trading names, well, so what? Let them do their creepy shit. We don't care anymore, do we? I don't know if this name just popped in my head. I don't know if this is related at all. But just, again, the reality, we're going to get into this a little bit later, but I might as well say it now. It's not just creeps planning stuff for test and retest for Whopper Computer. The reality itself is a conspiracy generation machine, a topic generation machine. It's facilitated by minions. But the engine of how it creates topics and bullshit to look at is part of dark reality itself. So there's all these branches from any one of these darts I'll throw against all the sticky notes all over the wall here of all the stupid stuff we've looked into over the past 12 to 15 years. So I don't know if this is related, but the name popped up, the Lucius Trust. People trying to research Alice Bailey or what? I don't care what you can research on that. I mean, I don't care what even is true about it. Matt, don't you know, Matt, that was originally called the Lucifer Trust. And no, I didn't know. This is my first truth video. I didn't know. It doesn't matter. The point is, whether it's 100% true or none of it's true, we get to the point where we just don't care. But it has nothing to do with our spiritual journey. Worry about yourself. Who cares about? We actually thought it was important to spend time researching The Lucius Trust. Matt, it still exists. I don't care if it's Fidelity Investments today. Real people don't give a shit. We don't chase it anymore. I'm out of the bog. Are you? Here's one that hit about 4 years ago, and it's still drummed up today. There's still people that have emailed me about it. At the winter solstice, or right around that time, a plasma swap or a pole shift. Take your pick, a pole shift, a plasma event where the sky will go burn red or whatever. What possible evidence could there be that something like that is coming? I've been approached on that, been told to hunker down on the winter solstice. Why would I think that that's going to happen, and all the other thousands of things that were supposed to happen going all the way back to Nostradamus? Here's how many happened. None. What possible evidence could exist where I'd put one bit of stock into a plasma event? Well, Matt, then your other side's just the same. What evidence you got that it ain't going to happen? You got answer? So it's equal. I might not have all the evidence it's going to, but you ain't got no evidence it's not going to have. Is that how it works? What? Is it 50-50? When somebody says the world's going to end, it's up to the other person to prove with an equal amount of evidence that it's not going to happen? Is that how it works? I don't think so, Joel. But guess what? I do have evidence it's not going to happen. You know what it is? I observed the knot milk and its minions and its creeps. It has been incredibly patient for hundreds of years, or perhaps far longer. It moves at a snail's pace, where it wants to move populations and societies and what they call the human being. It does it on the fringe. It does it in small increments. So it's moving so slowly over decade after decade, and just slowly implementing everything Albert Pike said, or whatever you believe the power of the minions. I think there's something in the shadows called knot milk, but that's not the purpose of this presentation. So they're going to be foiled. All the slow moves they made for nothing, because this plasma event's coming. But they see that a truther knows it, but they don't know it. A truther knows it, but all the scientific minds working for knot milk, they don't know it. Come on, give me a break. Here's something that belongs on the list, but it has to be treated more like economic collapse because there is legitimacy to it. But when you see it spike hard and you see the panic, or a certain topic takes off and panics people, then you know that's not milk cooked up, even if the underlying theme is there's some legitimacy to it. Mark of the beast is a legitimate issue. Now, I think we have a lot in common here with Christians. I'm not going to take the exact literal interpretation from the book of Revelation, and although it seems like in many ways the creeps are trying to play out the book of Revelation, but there is something to that. All right, to take the mark, maybe to buy and sell. Okay, that's been around forever, and it is something that it seems like the creeps slowly move towards. But before you split your pants, let me get it out for you. Oh, I knew Matt was going to. Let me finish. They're going to put the Luciferian. Oh, you've got to be kidding! Luciferian mayonnaise. People, there were hundreds and hundreds of BitChute videos or Odyssey videos or whatever that, because of See the Me and medical passports, and they're going to put this stuff, you're going to have to take this mark that's going to be under the skin in some sort of glowing gelatin or something, and people actually believed that the governments are going to put something called Luciferian A's, and you've got to be kidding me. I mean, even my friends that believe in watching the news is accurate, they wouldn't believe that. Nobody would accept that. I mean, it still pops up from time to time. If you're a big believer and they're going to come put Luciferian A's under your skin, sorry, you fell for it. If you run a big channel and regarding what was rolled out in 2021 as the savior for what was happening, if you use the word genocide as a large channel, then I hope you've apologized, all right? Because you took the bait. It's not how you don't understand how reality does business. You, the old man in the chair disciples, don't understand the basics of how your adversary does business. Of course, I'm talking about the renting of the movie Action Jackson in 2021. And anybody splitting their pants, don't put words in my mouth. When billions of people get something, when billions of people get a chemical, of course there's going to be adverse events. It's not all or none. You'll warp, or you'll take what I want to say in the way you want to hear it. You'll warp what I have to say. Yes, of course, there's going to be adverse events. Those adverse events can range from a little bit of skin irritation to all the way in the unit kaput. Okay, obviously, when billions of people, there's going to be these events. There's going to be people having to go to the hospital for whatever reason. Of course, that ticked up big time. Is that the same as genocide? Are you really equating that? Oh, Matt, there's a list that they had to put out through the CDC. You're equating that to the word genocide. Really? I'm not even going to address that. The old man in a chair minions and the people that use the word genocide, by now, there should be hundreds of millions. How do I say it? Kaput. Oh, but give me a break. If you use the word genocide, have you apologized? The fifth grade truther at this point should understand how our adversary, or not milk, or screen reality does business. So nobody's observed that it's Goldilocks. Always plays right down the middle. Gives you as a researcher just enough so you could dig into your camp and form an opinion. But then it gives your best friend who you're trying to, quote, wake up, or this group over here, or your family. It gives them just enough so they never come around to your camp. You never come around to theirs. It always just operates right down the middle. If you research shape, gives you what your research needs to form certain opinions, but then others, or your adversary who's taking the other side of the podium against you in a debate, they have stuff from the same reality that supports their side. So it operates down the middle so many times. It's a symptom that gives reality away as basically being fake. I call it the Goldilocks principle. So let me just ask the old men in a chair disciples this question. If hundreds of millions of people start falling, not a soccer player, one or two soccer players a month, that's not genocide. I'm sorry if hundreds of millions, and they said it would be worse than that. Okay, there's billions of people. Hundreds of millions just start falling over. Would that be a reality that's proven to operate right down the middle? Would that be a reality that operates Goldilocks? Gives this group what they need over here to dig into their position? Gives this group over here? No, it would violate everything reality has shown itself to be. These people are in our community. They don't even understand the adversary. They haven't understand the basics of how it does business. It plays down the middle. Hundreds of millions of people start going lost, kaput. That's then everybody would be on one side. We wouldn't be standing alone. You think our entire hundreds of millions of people going down towards the end of 2021, 2022, our family would still be like, it's safe. No, everybody would go to one side. That's not how the reality does business. We know that by now. Well, we should. Some of us know that. Most of the truth community still doesn't. Still first grade learning. Here's one that I don't understand that's gotten way too much play in our community. This fake alien invasion. I don't understand how it's gotten so much play, guys. Matt, don't you know about Project Bluebeam? No, I never heard of it. Nope. My first video. I don't understand how that's gotten so much play. Now, am I one to underestimate our adversary? No, I don't underestimate our adversary at all. But this one, I don't even... Maybe I've overestimated the adversary and its capabilities, saying they have technology that's 50 years or 100 years out. But even it doesn't matter under any circumstances. I have no idea how a portion of the truth community thinks they could pull this off. And I know there's people that emailed me that believe this. So I'm sorry, I don't always agree with what you do. Do you want to take your ball and go home? And Matt's not saying what I want him to say, so I'm just going to go away from this. I'm going to unsub. Or do you want to be challenged intellectually from time to time? That's why people should be here. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm surprised there's still so many Christians here. I don't go after Christianity, but I say what my opinion is on big religion as well, and Christians still hang around. If your faith is so strong, it should be challenged by somebody like me from time to time. You just want to not hear, take your ball, and go home. That's hopefully the people that believe in this fake alien invasions coming aren't going to be like that. I don't understand, again, why it's gotten so many videos. It's not the biggest topic in the world. It's not what Nibiru was 10 years ago. But to just play it out, like even in the movie Signs with Mel Gibson and River Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix, swing away, whatever, swing. At least, okay, they're telling him on the news in the movie Signs, M. Night Shyamalan. Can he do anything decent in the last 8 years or whatever? M. Night Shyamalan, come book us into the room, you, me and Greg, M. Night. We'll give you some ideas because your movies are recently horse shit. Whatever, the older they get old on the beach. I mean, that was horrible. Absolutely horrible. You're probably just 20 minutes from me, M. Night Shyamalan here. Go book us into the room, and you pay for it. So in Signs, the movie, it's on TV. They're showing him this alien invasion is happening in the M. Night Shyamalan movie Signs. However, there's all sorts of weird shit happening around, say, Bruce Willis's, Mel Gibson's house. There's weird things running in closets and shaking, and he's got crop signal signs right in his backyard. Something no Amish in Lancaster County up there in Pennsylvania Dutch country's ever gotten. For some reason, the aliens can only go to certain parts of England. Why can't they do it in Amish country? I mean, the Amish get up so early, the aliens couldn't get it in time. They can't. But not Bruce Willis, Mel Gibson had the damn crop circles. There were real shit happening. So they're going to present an alien invasion on the news, but billions of people, there won't be one sign that there's anything at all going on other than the reptilian thing that comes up and sits down with Wolf Blitzer on CNN. Matt, don't you know Bluebeam? They're going to project something in the air. Okay. Yeah, that'll, but with nothing else going on, that'll convince, I don't see it. Don't see it. I think it's another wasted endeavor in the truth community. Here's one that's a bit different, guys. If Y2K, the Y2K scare existed in the heyday of when our truth community took off using YouTube and the internet, then it would have been one of the biggest things of all time inside the truth community that they would have run with. It would have been, I can't imagine the videos that would have been made about it. It would have been used to scare the living crap out of people. They did that anyway. And if I said Y2K, guys, just 20 seconds or less, that's the scare. The century turned over from the 20th to the 21st, and they said because the computer systems just put in 2 digits for a date, so 1985 would just be 85, and it needed to change and put in 4 digits for a date because it's changing from 1985 to 2 something, and they couldn't make those changes, and the computer systems were just carrying dates forward with 2 digits. That was one part of the problem. There were other parts of the problem. I'm not a computer programmer. Okay, a few things here. They absolutely intentionally tried to scare the living crap out of people for Y2K. It was like fear louche. However, it was a legitimate problem. I know, they're splitting their pants. Matt, that's your new phrase for this video. Yeah, I might adopt that. I don't know where it came from. I like it. There's a whole segment of the truthers splitting their pants based on what I just said, that it was absolutely nothing. No, they're wrong. Right? Greg has the same story that I have. I was working for the insurance company, and there was a whole team of people that did nothing but line-by-line code to fix the dates. Every company, so it was just a big ruse. There was a million computer programmers all over the world working line by line to fix, but it was nothing needed to be done. It could have been a legitimate problem. The electrical grid and the water and all that did basically operate from computer programs back in the year 1999, not to the degree it does now. Greg said the same thing. And his where he worked was part of Mitsubishi, I believe, a plant of some kind. He knew the group that was doing the line-by-line changing of the code to accommodate the date. So it wasn't just cooked up. Okay, it was real. However, they took what was real, and I know the way they do business. Of course, they used it to scare the crap out of people. Now, Greg and I have talked about it many times. It still is amazing that when the quote ball dropped or the millennium switched over, that like nothing happened. We expect because this code issue did for the degree exist, we thought, okay, the lights would have gone out in this town for a day or part in New York City for a few hours. Nothing happened. That was very strange to Greg and I as well. But don't be one of these truthers that say there was no legitimacy. It was just cooked up for fear or for louche. So the team that I saw, they were just, I guess they were in on it. They knew they didn't have to change those lines. They saw there was no problem. The team at Greg's, every major company had people and working on changing code, just hours and hours. This started a year and a half before 1999 switched over to 2000. Of course, it was cooked up, the fear side of it. It wasn't what they said, but it needed to be done. Okay, that brings us to a topic that's not on the list, but it will someday be on the list. I put a video out, I don't know, probably a month ago, about how the AI and something real scary will be used to create a situation, a false blank. It will be used, no doubt about it. And maybe they'll use it many times a decade to create a situation that will be blamed on the AI, and then there'll be need for more government regulation and the need for quasi-government agencies to step in and coordination more as one world financial system, or maybe when the 30 trillion becomes the 35 trillion, becomes the 40 trillion, and it really can't go any farther, then the AI will be blamed. That way, politicians were responsible. No people in authority were. It was the AI that got out of control. You can just blame Silicon Valley, but then you need them. You need your computers and your MP3 files and your streaming services. You need them, they have to be. So they'll be blamed, and the AI will be blamed. And of course, things that we can add to this list will be coming, and we're just not ready to put them on the list because we don't know exactly how they'll play it out. But when it happens, we'll be ready for it, and we'll not panic, right? That's not the point. Is to reflect back at our past to adjust our behavior and our attitude and perception in the future. So there's almost nothing that should panic us at this point, guys, because almost everything to a degree is cooked up, or at least accentuated by a factor of 1,000 by the not milk. And one of the reasons for this endless theme in movies like the Terminator's Skynet, it's predictive programming to a degree. It might be actually the literal definition of predictive programming, is it makes it easier to blame the AI getting out of control when there's been 10 major motion pictures about the AI getting out of control. And the theme in Star Trek, and the theme in the return of Battlestar Galactica and streaming shows. So this theme is not new. It's programmed into our subconscious or unconscious if we can't remember the specific episode or movie where the theme's played out. And then, obviously, is that exactly why the Terminator was made? Probably not, but maybe. It could be the primary reason why the Terminator was made, but they typically don't do anything for one reason. They get 3-4 benefits out of almost everything they do. The final example I'll talk about in a minute is more of individual examples that people have sent me over the past 10 years. But it all relates back to this conclusion. The takeaway from this is, you might not believe it, or you might not be where I am, but I'm 100% convinced that it's a reality generation machine, but a conspiracy generation machine. Not just proven out in all the stuff that the minions have orchestrated on behalf of Not Milk, but in individual examples people have sent me over the years. People have sent me stuff, I don't know how many times, and it does relate to a degree. What was the big date? Was it September 9/23 of 22 or something like that? Was it September 22nd? Or there was a big date in September last year or the year before where people would do videos. They showed this date was in so many movies, TV shows. It just kept coming and coming. And I kept saying, you know what's going to happen? Ninth level of Metroid. Nothing's going to happen. Absolutely nothing. People have sent me, Matt, look at all this evidence I've collected showing this date is huge. This was in the TV show. And this has happened so many different times. Now, the people that are finding this evidence, I don't think it's not apophinia. To a small degree, apophinia. They're seeing what they want to see. No, they're actually seeing the artificial breadcrumbs generated by a false reality that is a conspiracy generation machine at the outer screen level. They're not delusional. They're actually collecting up this evidence. And the evidence, say in a certain case, or somebody sending me an email, is so overwhelming that something big or something dark is going to happen on this day that it's like it's overwhelming. Like, how many times have we seen celebrities and rock singers and actors cover the one eye in photo shoots? I mean, you see so much of it that you almost have to come to the conclusion that, okay, there's something going on here. And that's what these researchers did. And I was just trying to be the voice of reason with some of them, saying, look, this is not the first time somebody's presented this stuff to me. every single time somebody's done this, saying, Matt, look at this evidence that lines up on what potentially is going to happen on this date. Every single time, here's what's happened. Nothing's happened. So why would I think something's going to happen this time? I see the nature of reality and how it's able to pull this off. It's very similar to a degree in terms of we call, quote, Jeff's research that he's been doing, where just he'll almost announce to reality, not to the algorithm or whatever. We understand how that could work. If you talk about cat food in front of your computer enough, that it'll start getting cat food images. I mean, we've known that for 15 years, or cat food advertisements, or 10% off. But it's more than that. It's like he'll just think to himself, if I go Wikipedia, look this up, well, maybe there won't be a direct tie-in, but something will say the date in the year 1911 to 1914. So that number's there. 33 people will have been, and that number will tie him. It's unnatural how it does this. I don't know how or why it's given itself away to this degree, but it's almost like maybe the creeps or the not milk has to make bigger moves. Maybe it's behind schedule. It has to take bigger bites of its shit sandwich, whatever it may be, the yin yang. Then it will show its nonsense. It will reveal itself on the back end. It will give itself away on the back end. The whole concept or notion of reality gives itself away. So the more of this that happens, not just people doing their individual research, but all this stuff that we looked at, like Nibiru, or that didn't happen, that didn't play out. It's a conspiracy/reality generation machine, the entire reality itself. It's first grade truth in every one of these examples to say, and don't split your pants. Matt, stop saying that. Okay, I probably will abandon it, but I'm sticking with it in this video. I'm not saying that the whole Nibiru thing, Planet X, wasn't cooked up by dark men in black or the alphabet houses. They're a factor. They're a part of the engine. It was implanted in the truth community. But it's not just people pulling it off and faking everything and reading their lines. At the outer screen level of reality itself, it's a conspiracy generation machine. If it wasn't facilitating, it makes it, if there's a minion level pulling something off, or a minion level lying about something, or a minion level reading cue cards, they wouldn't be able to get away with it as much as they did unless it's facilitated and supported in some way by the outer ring of reality itself. They're given all these tools, or even they're on the download. They're not even aware of how they're pulling it all off. So you couldn't have something as big as all the videos that came from Planet X and Nibiru and all these expert witnesses that were involved in this aspect of government dark projects and black ops and all this whistleblowers and all this stuff was coming out. Nobody could coordinate the Nibiru Planet X presentation the way it was coordinated. And if that was the only thing they had to do every 30 years, maybe. But they're pulling off what we've talked about, this 10,000 other ruses at the same time. The space programs all over the world just keep doing their thing, and 10,000 other ruses at the same time. They're coordinating the Planet X ruse. Come on. No real world could do this. No group of people that just sits down in the pot and eats their Subway sandwiches could do this. It's obvious at this point. It's given itself away. A reality generation machine at the outer ring, the screen level, a conspiracy generation machine. Therefore, if you're doing your own little research and you think this big event's going to happen, you were fed the information, and let's learn our lesson. It's not going to happen. Let's take the Hale-Bopp comet suicide or mass suicide in San Diego. For those that don't know what this is, guys, and this news story, I'm highly skeptical of certain presentations in the news, as you may be aware. So I'm not just bowing down that this is all true, but let's just run with this story. For those that are unaware, I think it was the 90s. Was it the mid-90s? It doesn't matter. There was this cult. It's like the Jim Jones story. There's very little of this stuff that I buy, guys, fully. But okay, there was a Hale-Bopp comet. There was a comet that came in that people could see called Hale-Bopp, and these people drank their Jim Jones Kool-Aid in the cults. I don't know how many people died, whatever. Now, here's the thing. I have issues with that story, but let's just say the story is completely legitimate. These people did believe it. They were part of a real cult, and they gave their lives for the god that they believed was in the Hale-Bopp comet. I don't remember the specifics of the news story. What Gus is saying is, potentially in a reality generation machine, they actually were fed like real, what seemed to be, because these people maybe didn't understand the type of world or the fake illusory construct they're living in. They were fed all this potentially real information and connections, or maybe they made connections to the Bible. I don't know what happened. But in a reality generation machine, there could have been just overwhelming evidence from their perspective that this is their God coming in and they should lay down their lives, or whatever happened with the Hale-Bopp comment. Matt, that's just another bogus. Okay, I know it's probably just another bogus, but just go with me. So you people that do the research or make decisions about themselves based on any sort of information, numbers, dates, gematria coming from the outer screen, we know at least at this point, that's about the dumbest thing anybody can do. The outer screen, the outer ring of reality, is a liar. Guys, just to wrap this up, I'm sure there's some things I missed, and the stupid stuff we chased after. I'll look to your comments for that. If I don't make videos a few more days than normal, I have to finish this book. I mean, there's actually a few things like it's now up to 150 pages. I am aware that maybe I'm getting sucked in to write about certain things, and like from a Not Milk perspective, it doesn't ever want me to finish it. I keep going, well, I need to write about this. And I know that's like pulling me that way, and I need to cut stuff out of it. So, but I do need to finish it. It's just been going on, and I can't, on days I make videos, and I don't have a ton of time. So there might be a few more days a week because I have to finish this thing. And I said 6 weeks, finished 6 weeks ago. So, I just have to get it done. And for how large this channel is at this point, although, what am I getting? At this point, I'm getting 150 new subscribers a month. I don't care about subscribers. It's already too big. It's still pretty amazing how most of the commenters, and it's still kind of a community. But there's still, because of its size, and I do delete these people from the channel, guys, there's that word vitriol. There still is a nastiness that comes up. And like the cat video that I put out, talking about some of the crazy things that happened with Puss in Boots in that month-long period yesterday. See, one of the reasons I love videos like that, it draws out the real dark creatures, and it gives me the opportunity to delete them from the channel. So people that would make some sort of derogatory comment under a cat video, a few people put unsubbed. Like after I've made 2,500 or more truth videos, I'm not allowed to make a video about cats once every 2 years, just anybody that would do that is a really dark, low creature. And it's great to be able to draw them out, just to get rid of them. So I think the stakes of what's happening in this reality, our adversary, the stakes are pretty high for making sure we all help each other and we move forward for whatever life we have left to do the right things, to learn the right lessons. The stakes are pretty high, unless you're a real hardcore, no consequences person, and there is no stakes. But most of us still think the stakes are pretty high. So there's no room for somebody that's not trying to help us all out in a comment. Leave some snarky comment or this or that. If you expose yourself that you don't want to help us out, and helping us out could say, Matt, this presentation in this regard here is total horseshit, and I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. I don't remove those people from the channel. It's just some snarky bullshit that doesn't help any of us, doesn't say where I got it wrong. And there's, why I haven't run an ad ever in 14 years. Why would I care about subscriber numbers when I've never run an ad? And people complain like removing somebody from a channel is just something you never can do. Why? People that come here for the comments, in some cases more than the presentation, for a sense of community and people helping people. Why would we put up with somebody that doesn't want to help us move forward? Why? No, I'm going to be more apt to remove them permanently from the channel.